Hi everyone, this is Eldad Amara, my channel Eyes Wide Shut. As you can see on my t-shirt, Eyes Wide Shut. Okay, that's my logo. And Eyes Wide Shut at the bottom. I will be selling some t-shirts online soon in small, medium, large and extra large, along with some other merch, which will be cups. It will be also phone cases. It will also be t-shirts and hopefully sweatshirts also. And I forgot caps. Also caps. Okay, with a number of different slogans on there. So watch out for this. This merch store will be coming out in about 6 weeks' time. Now, my mouth is really dry, but I want to just get on with this. Listen, I went to a bar the other day, yeah? I went to a bar and I couldn't believe the amount of people I saw, yeah, with mobile telephones paying for drinks and food with their mobile phones, and also people paying by card. Okay, hardly anybody at all was paying by cash. We got to try and keep cash alive, people. We have to try and keep cash alive. If we go digital, which is what the government wants, which is what the British government wants, and what America wants, and what this world government wants, is for us to go over to digital currency. If we go over to digital currency, I'm telling you, you might as well just kiss goodbye to the baby, because you will have no more private transaction. Every single thing that you buy, everything that you purchase, yeah, will be monitored and logged. Trust what I'm telling you. All right? I just couldn't believe the amount of people using digital eyes credit cards and using their phones as well. And you know what? I'd say it must have been about 80 to 90% of people in that pub was paying for a card or paying by their mobile app. And the amount of young people as well, especially, I counted and I reckon it must have been about 90% of young people were using their phones to pay for the drinks. Listen, you're not waking up, are you? All right? There's some people damn well aware of what's going on, all right? Because there's so many people putting out videos now telling people about don't go for the CBDC, which is a central bank digital currency. Don't go for it. There's loads of people like myself and there's other creators, content creators, been putting out stuff about CBDCs and also about the social credit system. And even though they know about this thing, they are still going and using their phones and using their credit cards and not using cash. You need to keep cash alive. Cash is king. If you go digital, people, let me tell you this now, every single thing that you purchase, everything, all right, will be surveilled. Everything will be surveilled. You go and buy anything from a shop, it'll be digitalized. If you go and pay for a train ticket, it'll be digitalized. If you go on a flight, it'll be digitalized. If you buy petrol, it'll be digitalized. Every single aspect of your life, right, is going to become surveilled, controlled. Let me tell you, surveilled and controlled. If you know what I'm telling you and you know that it's correct, but you still continue to use your cards or your phone apps, well, guess what? I can't say that you're being ignorant. You are being now willfully ignorant. Willfully ignorant. Don't you care about your future? Don't you care about your kids' future? Those young people out there, you need to wake up. Your parents should be reteaching you about what I'm trying to teach you about digitalized currency and what it will mean for the future. Okay? But if your parents are asleep too, or some are awake, but they still want to go with the narrative, then you know what? They have to kiss goodbye to the baby too. But young people, as I say again, stop using your phone devices, your apps to pay for things. You need to use cash. You need to try and keep cash alive. Your parents who are older than you should know better. They should be teaching you also to not use your mobile phone apps. But then again, if they're doing the same thing themselves, then what are they really teaching their children? We're going down into a cul-de-sac. People got their eyes wide shut. They have their eyes wide shut when their eyes right now should be wide open. You should be aware to a lot of things that's going on in society at the moment. We are losing our freedoms every single day. We are being controlled from so many different narratives, so many different angles. Okay? Now, they've got this thing called an online safety bill. And yes, I can see some aspects of it is a good thing, because if somebody is being bullied, okay, online, then that is probably being monitored by the state. If somebody is selling pornography online, okay, that can be monitored. If someone's been racially abused online or sexually abused online, that can be monitored. If someone wants to set up some sort of group such as the EDL, right, to go out and to create havoc and violence, and I'm not necessarily saying that that is what they will do, but if some people get together online and decide that they want to go out and attack a certain group of people because they don't like them because of their ethnicity, or they don't like them because of their religious beliefs, right? Those things can be monitored online, okay? Those things can be monitored online, so that is a good thing. On the other aspect, on the other side, every single thing that you are doing, whether you're innocent party or not, is being monitored online. Okay? Everybody is being monitored online. So regardless of whether you're doing something good or not, yeah, you are still being monitored. Right? How does that make you feel? Some people say, it don't worry me. You know what doesn't worry me? Because I have nothing to lose. I have nothing to lose. I'm not doing anything wrong, so I don't mind being monitored. But your life is under a microscope 24/7. People are there watching everything that you're doing, everything that you purchase online, everything that you're saying online, every photograph, every holiday photograph that you have. Yeah? Every conversation that you have between you and maybe your girlfriend or your boyfriend is being monitored online. Where you travel is being monitored. Yeah, what you're buying is being monitored. And guess what? Even through your cameras on your phone, they can see everything that you are doing. Every time you send a text, they can snatch the text out the air. This is government. All right? Even the police force can snatch your texts from out the air before they reach to the person that you're sending them to. Your TVs now, right, have hidden, they have hidden cameras in them, and they're watching what you're doing. And turn off the television, it don't matter, because that thing is still going. We're living in such a digitalized society, and it's going to get worse. When things go digital, it means that things can be controlled externally, right? It means things can be controlled externally. You see, some people got smart meters. in their houses. Smart meters can be turned off externally. You no longer have to have people come in and read your meters. They can read your meters externally. If you're using too much energy, they can turn it down. They can turn down the smart meter. Do you know that? They can cut off your smart meter externally if you haven't paid your bills. Cars now, they're run, a lot of them by computers. You know, like they can switch off your car, especially like these new cars that's coming out. Yeah, these new cars, smart cars, they can switch off the engine externally. These new taxis that they're having, driverless taxis. Man, I don't see the point in that either. But they, with the smart taxis, right, these self-driverless cars, guess what? You might plan a journey to go somewhere and the car ends up taking you to a police station because you've done something wrong in the past. So, yes, you're putting so much control, or should I say, giving so much control to the state. Too much control to the state. Things going digital means that the state have more control of your devices. Okay? Now let me say something else. I grew up in the era when I have a point of reference. I can look back and I can see certain things that has happened. Such as when I was a kid, I can remember strikes, yeah? Railway strikes. I can remember coal men striking. I can remember the poll tax strikes. I can remember blackouts. When we had blackouts during the 70s, I can remember things such as that. And we had to use candles in our houses. We had to have tin baths. Okay? The days of tin baths, when 5 or 6 of you had to share the same water. When you had single glazed windows. I can remember the days of Star Trek. Watching Star Trek. And on Star Trek, you used to have these flip phones. Now, you've got flip phones. I can remember Star Trek. Yeah? The sci-fi program Star Trek. And you used to have like, the doors used to open like that. Okay? The doors used to open like that as people walked towards them. These were pressure sensitive doors. Guess what? Now we have pressure sensitive doors are open when you go into stores. We have flip phones, which was things that were being used in sci-fi films during the 70s. You had iPads. You seen Spock, yeah? And Captain Kirk with iPads. I have a point of reference. People of my age and older have a point of reference. But the young people now who's coming up now, they will not have a point of reference because they're growing up with all of this technology around them and they can't remember, obviously, things before they were born, before they were alive. They came into a system dominated mainly by what? Robots, AI, and all this technology. So they don't have a point of being able to look back and see the past. They only know of now. Parents, you should be right now trying to teach your kids about the past, right? Trying to warn them about the possible dangers of things to come in the future. If you're a good parent, you should be doing these things because guess what? Otherwise, your kids are going to be walking to a cul-de-sac. with their eyes wide shut, and they'll have less freedom than what I have and other people right now, because in the future it's going to get really bad. You're becoming literally bots. Do you know that there's a lot of young people, and I can't just say just young people, but they say that the average time spent on a phone in the UK is 6 hours per day. Average time. Some people spend more time, could be 8 to 10 hours. Some people spend lesser time, maybe only 1 or 2 hours. In America, it's 7 hours, so it's an hour more. That's only the average time spent on a phone, on a mobile phone. Some spend more time, others spend less time. There's some people who sleep with their phone. They're on their phone all night. They fall asleep 4 o'clock and they're up again to go to college or school or to work. So they only get very minimum amount of sleep. Their phones are literally attached to them. You know what I see as well? Which shows me a lot of people are being dumbed down by these phones. I see people walking along and they got their phones in their hand, looking into their phones and swiping, and they're walking along, just looking and swiping. Some got earphones in as well, right? That means that some of their other senses, are down, okay? Because they're not hearing traffic. They're not hearing someone coming up behind them, okay? They're not using their eyesight to look around to be aware of what's going on around them. And then they step off the curb without even looking and have to blow my horn. And some of them don't even hear me because they've got their earphones in. Right? People are getting dumbed down by their telephones. They're getting dumbed down by their telephone. It's like they're walking around and they look like zombies. These devices, these phones, these smart computers, they are starting to take your soul. And in return for that, you are getting nothing back. They're taking all of your information from you. They're taking everything from you. Yeah. And not only just information, but also your biometrics. The biometrics means they got cameras in shops. They got cameras in pubs. They got cameras on the road. They've got cameras in petrol stations. Now, biometric cameras. And these cameras are scanning you and they're looking at your eyes and they're looking at your mouth. They're looking at your facial features. They're looking at your body shape. They're looking at your gait. That is the way that you walk. These things are monitoring you 24/7. So it's not only just your content of what you're saying, it's also looking at your body structure, looking at your eyes. This thing is watching you 24/7. 24/7. We need to wake up. There's a lot of people still walking around with their eyes wide shut. They're going into a cul-de-sac. We're losing our freedoms. There's a law that's been passed in the UK recently to do with fraud. I can't remember the name of the actual law, but it's to do with fraud and things like embezzlement. Now, that's a good thing again, in a sense of the way. But do you know that the British government now, they can go into anybody's bank account, right, and snoop and have a look at their bank accounts to see how much money is in there, to see their transactions, where the money is going. And they don't even have to tell you the reason why they're going into your account. They could stop money. They could take money out of your account now. Okay? And you might not know about it. they don't have to go to the courts in order to get, what they call it again, they don't have to go to the court to get a warrant. In the past, they would have to go to a court to get a warrant. This new act, shall I say law, allows the government to go and look into anybody's bank account. What do you think is going to happen in the future with this online safety bill and with these other bills? This terrorism act, which came out in 2020, right? But it has another clause in it to do with terrorism, people supporting so-called terrorist type groups like Al-Qaeda, yeah, and the Taliban. You can't do anything such as peaceful marches anymore. You could go to jail for 14 years. 14 years for peaceful protests. Imagine that now. 14 years imprisonment. Peaceful protest is now becoming a thing of the past. You're not going out robbing anyone. You're not knocking anyone down. You're not burning out a shop. You're not assaulting police officers. Yeah, you're just going out and you're protesting. Where is your democratic right? And where is your democratic right to be able to do this? Where is your consent? Where's that gone? Who brought in this law that says that you can't no longer do peaceful protest? And if you do, there is a chance you might go to jail and fine. Now, taking that into consideration, the Terrorism Act and also this other act, the Online Safety Bill, and there's a whole heap of other ones as well. If you do something wrong and the government don't like it, they can go into your bank account and take money out, and they don't have to have your permission, and they don't have to go to a court in order to go and get some kind of an injunction or so forth. What kind of world are we moving towards? Going back to this digitalized currency, and the amount of people I see still buying things on a phone app, still buying things by cards and not using money. You need to try and keep cash alive, people. If you know about this already and you're still not using cash, then it's willful ignorance on your part. And guess what? In the long run, right, you are going to be in a world of doo-doo. You're going to be in a world of doo-doo. The shit is going to get really deep. They said from 2025 onward, with this new world order, they're starting to stop a lot of our freedoms, and they're watching our movements. They're bringing out things now. They're trying to bring out the CBDC. They're trying to bring out a health certificate. They're trying to bring out ID certificates that you have to carry around with you. They want to try and centralize everything and put everything onto one card. There's a guy in China. Check this out. He was jaywalking. I told this story before. He was jaywalking and he didn't cross the road on the proper point like the crossing. He jaywalked and crossed the road. Before he got to the other side of the road, they'd taken money out of his bank before he got to the other side of the road, because his cameras are watching him, right? And it's linked to his bank account. They want to take money out of his bank account. That's the future you want? Really? That's the future you want? Oh, man, you need to wake up. Let me have another sip. you have to wake up. Too many people are still sleeping. And let me tell you about this thing called evil first seamen, because this is how a lot of government, this is how they play their tactics, right? Evil first seamen. I got this from AI. The phrase, the devil will make evil first seamen, is not a direct quote from the King James Version of the Bible. However, the concept of Satan deceiving people by making evil appear attractive is a prominent theme, particularly in Corinthians chapter 2, in 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 14, which states, "And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light." Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. Okay? This verse highlights Satan's ability to disguise himself and his works as something good or righteous to deceive others. To deceive others. Yeah? Satan making himself look good, appearing as a righteous person, okay? But is really deceiving people. And I can see this deception going on right now with government. And it's not just within the British government, it's other governments around the world. Because they want to try and centralize power so that every government becomes under one broad system. Right? So what is evil first seamen? Well, in England, you can drive a car, yeah, on a motorway, and you can drive between 60 to 70 miles per hour. But a lot of cars are made, and sports cars are made, which go 160 to 180 miles per hour. Why do you make cars that fast, right, to go that speed when the speed limit is no more than 70 miles per hour? If you go over that speed, they say that you could be fined for speeding, right? Not only that, but there's a strong chance that you could kill yourself or kill somebody else by doing those kinds of speeds. So that is evil fair seamen. Why allow people to have cars that go that fast if really it's going to endanger other people? Okay? It's another way that government is making money because they get money through fines, right? Through fining people, and also through making these vehicles that go excessive speeds. Also, you got other things such as alcohol and cigarettes, right? Which the government tell you is dangerous. The amount of people that die each year with lung cancer, the amount of people who die each year with liver cancer or pancreatic cancer linked to both alcohol and to cigarettes. People who have to go to hospital each year to have bits of themselves cut out because of alcohol and because of cigarettes and other drugs. Again, the devil making evil fair seamen, make it look good. Now you got the CBDC, and some people think that is a good thing, but check this. CBDC, right, digital currency. You don't have to carry cash around with you, so it makes it safer for people from being robbed. It stops fraud by tracking people, but it's really about control and penalizing you if the government says you done something they don't like. They can stop your money, right? They can stop your money. They can fine you, as I just demonstrated about like a new law that's come out under fraud. Evil first seamen. You got things such as Alexa, you got Siri, You got Amazon Echo. These things, you can speak to these devices. You can ask them information. You can ask advice. Where is all this information going? When you're in the front room and you're talking to someone or you got visitors, how do you know that this machine isn't recording everything that you're saying and it's going back somewhere? After all, if you're asking Siri, what's the weather like outside? What's the weather like going to be on Tuesday? Has there been any crashes on the M4? Yeah? Where is that information going to? Where is it going to? How does it know what you want to ask it? And for it to give you an answer back so quickly? Is it satellite that the information is going to? Or is it going to some government computer underground? Where is that information going? Where is that being stored? Right. Not collect treasures upon earth. Not collect treasures upon earth. See, too many people now, and I'm not saying everybody, but there's a lot of people, they don't want to live within their means, right? They don't want to live within their means. So they got so much things on credit. And because they have things on credit, it means that they're always forever paying off their debts, right? That's another thing. Make evil fair seeming. Because you can get so many things on credit now, but in the long run, if you can't pay it off, you might lose your home. You may lose your partner, okay, through these debts. Why can't people live within their means? I personally try to live within my means, okay? I try and live within my means. There's a verse from the Bible here, and I think it's quite apt. The verse, lay not up for yourself treasures upon earth, where moths and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. This is found in Matthew chapter 6, verse 19 of the King James Version of the Bible. This verse is part of a larger passage, where Jesus teaches about focusing on spiritual rather than earthly treasures. It's not just about earthly treasures, and it's not just about spiritual treasures, yeah? To me personally, when I read this version of the Bible, yeah, it's telling me to try and live within my means. Don't bring things that rust and spoil. Okay, do not collect up things that rust and spoil. Do not collect up treasures for yourself, because if you don't live within your means, you start collecting these things up, you're going to cause yourself debt. You're going to cause yourself debt. Okay? So that's our reading to that. And another passage here from the Bible, which I try and go by, which is my daily bread. Give us this day our daily bread, right? This is found in King James Version of the Bible. In Matthew's chapter 6, verse 11, right? And it's part of the Lord's Prayer. It signifies a prayer for God's provision of physical substance for the present day, emphasizing trust in God as the provider. Some interpretations also extend to include spiritual nourishment. People, we need to live within our means. And if you notice, the government tries to get you to live within its means. Try to get you to live within its means. You have to go shopping and buy your goods from a shop, yeah? What happens if that shop should close down? How would you survive? There's not too many people are living inside of their means, within their means. They're dependent on the government for a lot of things, their electricity, their gas, yeah, their food, their water. Give us to stay our daily bread. I can start to see that my podcast is, I can see that it's starting to get dark, so I'm going to have to end this broadcast. But listen, people, and especially you younger people, you need to think about your own future. Do you want to live in a world where you're totally under the control of government, right? And you have hardly any freedoms? I really want you to seriously think about this. Try and keep cash alive, people. Try and keep cash alive. Anyway, this is Eldad Amara with another video. Over and out. Thank you.